As an organization, we recognize that to leverage our unique position, technology transfer couldn't be the responsibility of just one office. It needed to become a fundamental part of our organizational DNA.
Welcome to the Transfer Files, inside the world of federal innovation. This is your insider's look at how federal laboratories bring groundbreaking technologies to market. I'm your host, Andrea Nelson. In every episode, we'll bring you insights and expertise from throughout the world of tech transfer. Today, we're joined by Dr. Angela Lewis, Technical Director at the Naval Surface Warfare Center Crane Division, and the 2025 FLC Lab Director of the Year. With more than 3 decades of experience spanning operations, strategy, and leadership, Dr. Lewis has played a key role in shaping how one of the Navy's most mission-critical labs approaches innovation, partnerships, and technology transfer. She was also featured in last year's Lab Directors Forum at the FLC National Meeting, where she shared insights on leading in complex environments and using technology transfer as a strategic tool to deliver real outcomes for national security. In this conversation, Dr. Lewis reflects on her career journey, how her perspective on technology transfer evolved over time, and what it takes to build a culture that connects research, partnerships, and mission impact. She also offers practical lessons for other labs looking to strengthen their own innovation ecosystems. If you're interested in leadership, mission-driven innovation, and the future of federal technology transfer, this is a conversation you won't want to miss. Let's get into it.
Dr. Lewis, thank you so much for being here with us today. Hi, Andrea. It's my pleasure. So first of all, you've built more than 3 decades of experience across operations, strategy, and leadership at NSWC Crane. Can you walk us through your career journey and what first drew you to working at Crane? It's a great question, Andrea, and it's hard to believe it's been this summer, will be 36 years. I came here right out of high school as an intern. I didn't really know much about Crane, so I wasn't sure what I had applied to in the way of an internship, but I knew that it was an organization in my community that offered great careers for people. The people that worked here, it was viewed as a good job, and I was a college-bound high school senior that just got fortunate. A friend of mine, her mother was an employee here, and she brought us applications. And, if you fast forward from there, once I became a part of the organization, I knew that it was something special, and I would be fortunate if I had the chance to continue to work here after I graduated from college, which clearly happened that way. And then there are so many opportunities here that that journey has crossed a lot of boundaries. I've been blessed with education, continuing education opportunities to pursue a master's and a doctorate degree, and some executive education and leadership. It's just it's been just this great experience and opportunity for professional growth and development. Where being a warfare center, the mission of the organization, giving back to warfighters on a daily basis, is the thing that has kept me here all that time. Now, as a technical director and the senior civilian leader at Crane, you oversee a workforce supporting some of the Navy's most mission-critical capabilities. How do you typically describe your role and Crane's mission to someone unfamiliar with the command? We have a broad set of mission requirements, and I will talk with people about our 3 main mission areas: strategic missions, electronic warfare, and expeditionary warfighting systems support. What I tell people is that our number one job is to support warfighters. We deliver warfighting capability across multiple domains and multiple platforms. It is harnessing technology and bringing that to the systems and equipments that keep our warfighters safe. And there's hardly a better mission available to be a part of than that. And we have, when you drive on the installation, people will see signs that say our number one job is to support the warfighter. And doesn't really matter across the country. That resonates with people. They can understand that even if they don't understand the complexities of the War Department and all of the services and the jargon and the language that the Navy uses to describe itself. At Crane, mostly I tell people that I have the blessing in this position to represent all of the great work of the 3,500 government civilian employees of this organization and all that they do on a daily basis to deliver that capability.
Now, Crane sits at a unique point in the Navy and the DoD, DoW R&D ecosystem, bridging basic research, rapid prototyping, and fielded capability. So how does that position shape the way you think about technology transfer and external partnerships?
Yeah, definitely. Our position, sort of at the crossroads of naval innovation, is fundamental to our entire strategy. Here at Crane, we see the full spectrum, like you said, from basic research and rapid prototyping to delivering those capabilities to the fleet. So this unique vantage point kind of shows us that a one-size-fits-all approach to innovation doesn't work. Different stages of research and development require different kinds of support to maintain momentum. So that's precisely how we view technology transfer. It is essential. It allows us to be agile, and it lets us build the perfect team for every phase of a project, whether that's partnering with academic institutions for early stage research, with small businesses and non-traditional businesses for prototyping, or large defense partners to field capabilities at scale. So ultimately, technology transfer is about assembling a team with diverse strengths to accelerate the development of critical technologies and to ensure warfighters have the decisive advantage in all domains and across their areas of engagement.
You've described tech transfer as a strategic tool for delivering better outcomes for warfighters, as you've said. So when did that mindset really crystallize for you as a leader?
I think it was during the time when I was serving as the chief of staff, and I started to attend some of our VIP visits and tours. And I heard our then technology transfer director educate senior leadership and a set of visitors on the various mechanisms available through technology transfer to be able to work with private parties and education institutions and the different things from an education standpoint that you can accomplish through different agreements and relationship types. Up to that point in my career, I really only had worked with industry through formal FAR-based, federal acquisition regulation-based contracts. And I think that the education that was provided at that point in time was very eye-opening for me and really helped me to see the potential outcomes associated with working with partners in a much different fashion.
As a working capital fund organization, Crane operates very differently from appropriated labs. Can you explain what that means and how it influences how you prioritize, resource, and scale technology transfer?
Yeah, that is a great point. And the Working Capital Fund is central to how we operate as a warfare center. It is not always well understood. And here recently, it has come up in a lot of conversations. The Working Capital Fund is down within the Department of Navy, and Congress will appropriate funds to program offices, and then program offices make choices about where they go to get their program requirements met. And when they choose to come to a warfare center like Crane, then they're giving their mission-funded dollars to us to execute tasking to help them to meet their program requirements. And if we don't do that in a way that operates much like a business, where we provide products and services on cost, quality, and schedule measures, then they won't come back. So we operate very much like a business that is zero profit. We only charge enough to cover our costs. Then we don't have demand. And at Crane, we have a lot of demand. So I think that we are really doing great to meet mission requirements. So the model itself keeps us laser focused on the mission, but it also can create at times unique challenges for technology transfer. So once a project ends, our government experts are immediately pivoting themselves to the next funded task. So this leaves sometimes little opportunity for them to personally develop their own intellectual property for broader commercial use. To overcome this, another great thing about the Navy's Working Capital Fund is we generate revenue in an overhead budget that then we can determine how to invest that overhead budget, at least the discretionary piece of it. And one of the things that we choose to continue to invest in is technology transfer and the team that acts as that dedicated partner to our subject matter experts and our inventors across the organization. So the T2 team bridges the gap by leveraging programs offered by FLC and DIU and others to mature technology and then take on the commercialization workload themselves. They create presentations, they handle the market research, and they develop outreach materials to champion the IP. And it's this kind of partnership with the technical community that allows us to be good stewards of our experts' valuable time while ensuring that the novel ideas and the intellectual property that comes from their routine work has a path to make an impact beyond that initial project. It's the taxpayers' money that comes to the programs and that the programs use to send here. And so if you think about it, the public has paid for the intellectual property that comes from organizations like ours. And as good stewards of taxpayer dollars, we invest in T2 in order to ensure that IP is made available for further commercialization and availability for our country.
Along the way, what have you learned about enabling T2 in environments where time and incentives are genuinely constrained?
Yeah, that's a great question. Our team really understands the value of partnership and working across boundaries within what we use the term ecosystem. So we hear from division managers across our organization each year in strategic alignment briefs, and our executive leadership team stays in tune with what technology transfer mechanisms are being leveraged and used and how effective they are in executing our strategic initiatives. So it's with intention. It's a great opportunity to recognize the focus on engagement with the innovation ecosystem. We have a patent incentive program as well that provides monetary incentives for completed invention disclosures and for issued patents, as well as we do an annual inventors recognition ceremony where we provide patent frames to our inventors whose patents are issued during that particular fiscal year. So we recognize also up to one individual during that event per department that as T2 contributors of the year. So all of that recognition is based on leveraging the various T2 mechanisms. And the good thing about the contributor of the year is that the nominations are submitted by their team members across the organization here inside of Crane. We try to be intentional about talking about the importance, but then putting the reinforcement through incentives and active engagement of leadership.
As you've elevated innovation ecosystem engagement to this foundational principle at Crane, what does that mean for your workforce day to day?
Throughout our history, we learned the importance of intellectual property and cooperative research, and the development of agreements and how they impact our overall military value. So as our workforce has evolved, we have come to enjoy and rely on this vast network of partnerships that we have cultivated in support of the Crane mission. We can't just go hire all of the talent that we need. At Crane, we focus on the power and partnerships with industry and academia to collaborate and innovate. To really leverage those partnerships is it's crucial to bring the best solutions to our nation's warfighters. So as a result, our innovation ecosystem is expansive. We have research and education partnerships across 39 of our 50 states. We have them with 60 universities and more than 168 industry partners, all through technology transfer.
Wow. And initiatives like Crane Division University and the Innovation Ecosystem on Demand course suggest deliberate investment in internal literacy around T2. So why was education such a critical lever for cultural change?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks for bringing that up. As an organization, we recognize that to leverage our unique position, technology transfer couldn't be the responsibility of just one office. It needed to become a fundamental part of our organizational DNA. Education has proven to be one of the most powerful tools that we have to incentivize and drive that type of cultural change and acceptance. And we use Crane Division University, that's kind of a concept, as the engine for this type of education. Crane Division University was stood up to provide education opportunities to accelerate knowledge transfer and knowledge management for our organization, really in the unique niche area of things that you can't get commercially off the shelf or through academic education programs. And so we use Crane Division University for lots of different topic areas very successfully. And when we recognize the importance of T2 and improving education levels around it, of course, CDU was a great delivery mechanism. But it's designed to do more than just build general skills. It strategically equips our workforce with the specific knowledge that they need to be ambassadors of innovation. It ensures that from entry-level scientists and engineers up through seasoned journey and mid-career leaders, everyone understands the art of the possible in partnering and how to use technology transfer. The Innovation Ecosystem on Demand course is sort of a perfect example. So we developed it during the shift to remote work to make knowledge accessible to anyone at any time. And then by demystifying the process and providing on-demand training, we empower the entire workforce to think and act like entrepreneurs. We embrace entrepreneurial thinking in strategic partnerships with both industry and academia. Greater exchange of ideas allows us to think out of the box for new and emerging solutions, and that's how we build a culture that consistently produces outcomes. Invest in the people and invest in your partners. Good things happen for warfighters when we do that.
Absolutely. And Crane's innovation ecosystem spans dozens of universities and hundreds of industry partners. How do you move from having relationships to building an ecosystem that consistently produces outcomes?
That's the critical question, isn't it? Moving from a list of contacts to a dynamic ecosystem is an intentional and active process. For us, it's not about passively waiting for innovation to find us. It's about actively seeking it out. So it starts with our people, scientists and engineers that are deeply embedded with their technical communities. They know warfighting requirements. They know warfighters. They know how warfighters use equipment in warfighting environments. And so they stay on the cutting edge of academic and industry progress in their technology areas. That allows them to identify and to seek out professors, researchers, companies that truly advance state of the art. And that is why our footprint is so broad. With active technology transfer partnerships across 39 states, we clearly like to go where the talent is. So we cultivate these relationships through deep, meaningful engagements. It's one thing to meet someone at a conference. It's another to build a lasting collaborative relationship. So we invite top minds to come and visit us at NSWC Crane for our Distinguished Lecture Series. We create opportunities for people to work alongside our experts through temporary faculty programs and in just collaborative joint research projects. So we make partnerships a daily active part of our work. We build a level of trust and familiarity, and that is how we transform and really use that collection of relationships to have a thriving ecosystem that consistently delivers outcomes and solutions for our Navy and our nation.
And adding to that theme of building trust and collaborating, the Indiana Research Consortium is a standout example of coordinated academic engagement. So what governance or trust-building elements were essential to making a multi-party CRADA work at that scale?
The success of the Indiana Research Consortium really boils down to two key elements: establishing a shared vision and fostering active collaboration. And I just want to take a moment to highlight a couple of things about the Indiana Research Consortium. We've brought together Purdue University, Indiana University, and Notre Dame, 3 R1 institutions in the state of Indiana. That in and of itself, to have 3 R1 institutions is a tremendous asset for the state. For those institutions that are highly competitive, to work collectively together is an even bigger asset for the state. So initially, we had individual relationships with leadership at Purdue, at Indiana University, and at Notre Dame. Each has been committed to supporting defense, research, and our nation's warfighters. However, to tackle the nation's most critical defense challenges and largest challenges, we knew that we could do better if we worked as a more unified team. So the turning point was in 2024 when the university sat down and signed a Memorandum of Understanding creating a formal structure for the Indiana Research Consortium. And it wasn't just a document, it was a commitment to a shared vision for advancing defense technologies in areas like hypersonics and microelectronics. But trust is built not through signing a paper, it's built through the action. We've been collaborating on joint research proposals with them. They've hosted a hypersonics workshop, also one for microelectronics. And the key is consistent engagement. We have a director of research and a university liaison team, and they play pivotal roles in maintaining that collaborative momentum.
Now, another initiative, the Navy's annual Silent Swarm event, has grown quickly and delivers value for participants. So what design choices make it effective as both an experimentation venue and a transition mechanism?
Silent Swarm is it's been this series of annual experimentation events sponsored by the Office of the Undersecretary of War for Research and Engineering and the Integrated Sensing and Cyber Office. So the experimentation itself focuses on maturing and advancing technologies that are employed on small, attritable, unmanned systems across multiple domains. And the technologies of interest have included electromagnetic warfare support, protection, radio frequency enabled digital payload delivery, and resilient communications. And so these things are all core and central to the NSWC Crane mission. And during the first year of Silent Swarm, we put out a request for interest and built an event that included 17 participating technologies. And by the third Silent Swarm event in 2024, the event evolved and involved teams experimenting with more than 50 technologies. And so it's been this great opportunity for industry to come and be a part of what we set up in an experimentation site called the National All-Domain Warfighting Center up in Alpena, Michigan. And it allows small businesses and non-traditional defense industries to come and to take part in testing their own low technology readiness level initiatives in collaboration with government laboratories. And then we have academic partners there as well with these industry participants. And we set up a multi-domain environment, and the technologies can operate on the ground, on ground mobile platforms, on drones, on maritime platforms, and on unmanned surface vehicles and subsurface vehicles, all with very streamlined integration. Just this week, I had heard an outcome brief about Silent Swarm 2025 leading to Silent Swarm 2026. And one of the most impactful quotes that I read from the FY25 event was a company that said they were able to execute 9 months worth of development effort in 3 hours. Wow. So we give them a realistic environment. We bring technologies, we bring platforms and systems, and we have data collection mechanisms and subject matter experts from the government, engineers, scientists, alongside with the operators that we invite to come in. And these are one-of-a-kind opportunities for some of these companies to get their technology into a platform or a system, into a warfighting environment, to be evaluated by our technical SME team and by our nation's operators. It's just a wonderful event.
Amazing. Now, as we've been talking about, Crane's growth has been very impressive in agreements, disclosures, and partnerships, but metrics often don't tell the whole story. So how do you personally assess whether technology transfer is truly advancing mission impact and national security?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you're right. Metrics alone don't capture the full picture. They are pretty impressive, though. For me, the measure of success is in strategic alignment. So are the partnerships that we're developing solving the Navy's most pressing problems and advancing our national security in our mission area responsibilities? So we assess this in a very direct way. I'm proud of the raw growth. 107 new partnership agreements in FY25 is terrific. But the numbers that we look at most closely are the alignment metrics. 85% of those new agreements directly map to our top strategic priorities. And that tells me that our team is focused on what matters. But even more importantly, 100% of them align with the broader mission set assigned to Crane and are at the top of the Navy's priority list. So that just confirms that we're maintaining our commitment to the Navy and to our warfighters. So the percentages aren't just statistics. They're proof that technology transfer efforts are not random. They're a direct, intentional, strategic tool. And when we see that level of alignment, we know we're being effective. We're building an ecosystem that is laser focused on delivering tangible impacts and results in our mission areas and ensuring the nation's security.
Now, looking across your leadership experience, what kinds of behaviors most directly enable a strong technology transfer culture?
And what do leaders often underestimate about their role in building it?
Culture is absolutely driven by leadership behaviors, and that's leadership at all levels. In my experience, the single most important behavior is making technology transfer a visible and measured priority. Can't be a side project. It can't be the responsibility of one office, and it can't be an afterthought. And we've talked about a little bit of that already. But at Crane, we have woven the innovation ecosystem engagement directly into our foundational principles. We have committed to 5 foundational principles for the past 10 years. And those principles on a slide are not enough. We make them all real through active engagement. As far as innovation ecosystem engagement goes, for example, every year when those division managers come in and sit down with myself and the captain, our entire executive leadership team, and they talk to us about their strategic alignment, we don't just talk about budgets and projects and workload. We specifically discuss their technology transfer and partnership activities. We review what they've done and we review what they're planning to do and where they're going. So that one action on an annual basis sends a very clear and unmistakable signal across the entire organization. This is a priority. So that directly answers, I guess, maybe the second part of your question, what leaders often underestimate. They underestimate their own ability to influence this. They assume that if a technology transfer is a good idea, their people will naturally embrace it. But a great idea without active leadership support will be secondary to what is perceived to be the real work or the day job. So we do more than just permit people to be innovative. We actively champion it, and we ask them to engage in it, and then we measure and inspect it, and we reward it. And when teams know that it's important to you, it becomes important to them. And that is just consistent, visible reinforcement, and that truly builds a strong technology transfer culture based on innovative partnerships and collaboration. Again, just bring in the highest quality teams together to provide the types of innovative solutions needed for warfighting challenges.
Beautiful. And we have listeners now from across federal labs and agencies. And for those who are working to strengthen their own technology transfer efforts, what's one practical step that they could take tomorrow that would make a meaningful difference?
Well, I'd offer one piece of practical advice that maybe has 2 parts. First, for technology transfer professionals, don't go it alone. The Federal Lab Consortium is an incredible network. Leverage peers and partners to learn from and grow your programs. Build a network of other practitioners to share best practices and to leverage learning that's already occurred. And second, and this is critical, engage leadership. Don't ask for support, proactively show them how. And exactly how. Technology transfer is a tool that solves problems and directly enables the organization's mission. So when leadership sees technology transfer as a mission enabler instead of a side task, it changes everything.
Beautiful. Well, Dr. Lewis, I think it's clear why you have been recognized as a lab director and why you've had such standout impactful outcomes. So thank you again so much for taking the time to talk with us and share your experience and your insights.
Yeah, thank you, Andrea. And you mentioned the Lab Director of the Year recognition. And I oftentimes say, who else would they give it to when you have the pleasure to be the director of what is clearly the Lab of the Year here at the Naval Surface Warfare Center Crane Division?
Thank you again to Dr. Lewis for sharing her insights and leadership perspective. If you'd like to hear more, watch the Lab Directors Forum from last year's national meeting in the FLC Learning Center, which is available to anyone with a free login. This year's Lab Director of the Year and featured speaker at the Lab Directors Forum is Dina Jones, head of the U.S. National Poultry Research Center within the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Agricultural Research Service. You can catch her live at the Lab Directors Forum on May 13th during the FLC National Meeting in Seattle, Washington. There's still time to register. Go to federallabs.org/NM26 to find out more. Thanks for listening and spreading the word about this podcast. Tell your friends and colleagues about the podcast and leave us a review and rating because that helps other people find us. Subscribe and listen to all of our episodes on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform. Check the show notes or the episode page at federallabs.org for links to more resources and information. Thanks as always to our producer and digital marketing manager, Carly Dunow, graphics manager, Danny Batchelor, web content and systems manager, Jess Klein, and the FLC staff and community for your support. We'll see you back in 2 weeks on Transfer Files Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in to the Transfer Files, your insider's look at federal tech transfer. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay connected for more episodes exploring how hundreds of government laboratories and countless industry partners are driving innovations that shape our lives.